we doing? Welcome to Talking Boxing. It is Monday, October 20th, 2025. And I hope you all had a great weekend. It's a little bit funny without the football happening at the moment, isn't it? Not much going on at all. Trade period's over, draft to come up. Not sure what's happening with the rugby league, but that's how it's going with the AFL. Obviously, lots happening in boxing as well over the weekend. We had Desley Robinson had a win. Dylan Biggs is another one. Lots of topics to talk about. And I see there's a few in the chat at the moment. As always, great to have you all along. And if you're new to the show, if you're watching live, that is, this show is yours. You determine the direction we go. Put your comments in the chat. And it says there, let's talk some boxing. And again, thank you to everyone also that listens on Spotify every week. We probably have about 100 people that download it every week, so I really appreciate that as well, and thanks for tuning in. All right, plenty of topics. What do we got? Let's see who we've got there. We'll start at the top, and we'll start with Shadow Boxer. Very happy to see Biggs make it to the final. Looking good at 160. Only thing is he's conditioning at times, but exciting future. I'm not quite sure how old he is, Shadow Boxer, but really, really impressive win. And what's he had? Has he had 4 wins now? He's had at least 3. If not 4. So really, really happy for the young guy. I think I said this morning on Walking Boxing that I was a little bit concerned about Dylan after the Nikita loss because he was dominating in that fight. Started well, of course, dropped Nikita, which was a good effort, but was dominating in that fight. I really wondered where he was going to be at, but he's regrouped, he's got himself together, and has gone over to the WBC Grand Prix and done a fantastic job. Or is that Grand Prix, or however you might pronounce it? But yeah, good on him. And who's he fighting? Is it, what was his name? I'm just trying to think of the name. Lancelot. That was his. Is that Lancelot someone? I mean, that's a great name, isn't it? So yeah, good to see anyway. Shadow Boxer. We'll go with Ryan Gray. How are you, Ryan? Thanks for tuning in, mate. I hope you're well too. Great to face off. Sorry, great to see, I suppose that's supposed to say, the face-off between Parker and Wardley. 2 gentlemen of the sport, intelligent professionals. May the best man win, and let that be Joseph Parker. Yeah, is that this weekend, isn't it, I think, Ryan? Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's on pretty early in the morning, so I think the telecast might start at 4 or 5 in the morning. So hopefully the main event is not on until around sort of 7 or 8 o'clock. I'm up in the air whether I'll actually buy it. It's on DAZN. Well, I'll make up my mind on the weekend, see how tight. I've got to work Saturday night at our pub, so it depends on what time I get home. But no doubt I'll watch it on YouTube an hour or so later, do my walking boxing and give my review. And hopefully I'm with you, Ryan. I really hope that Joseph Parker gets the job done. He's been in great form lately. Wasn't that impressed with Fabio Wardley, obviously, in the fight against Justice Honey. But Joseph Parker deserves to get a shot at the world title. I hope he takes care of Fabio Wardley. Look, if it all goes the way or goes to plan that I think it should or will, I would think... Sorry, I'll just turn this off there. That's just had YouTube playing on my other channel. I lost my train of thought there. Yes, I mean, he was so lucky. I think I've got this right. I just sort of wandered off there mentally. Sorry, guys. Yeah, Fabio Wardley, I mean, Justice Honey badly exposed him in their fight. If it goes, this is what I was going to, that's right, I was going to say, is if it goes the way, I'll get there eventually. If it goes the way it's supposed to, and we all think it's going to, I think this should be a really easy night for Joseph Parker. Now, Fabio Wardley showed that he can punch in his last fight, but stylistically, Joseph Parker should really box his ears off. Justice Honey really made him look very, very ordinary, I thought, in their fight until he nailed Justice Honey. I don't see Joseph Parker making the same mistake. I see him being clever, being smart, boxing the way we've seen him in the past, and I think by right he should beat Fabio Wardley by a comfortable 12-round decision. He might even stop Wardley, we'll see, but I think Joseph Parker should definitely get the win. All right, old mate. All right, how good was Desley Robinson yesterday? Excellent performance. Yeah, she was good, Big J. Look, unfortunately, she didn't have a lot to beat, and that's not Desley's fault. She was the challenger they put up to Desley. She did what she was supposed to do. She dominated her, stopped her in 2 rounds, totally obliterated the way she should have and what we probably should have expected. what was her name? Holly, I think her name was. I think Lauren Holly or whatever her name was. Yeah, look out of her depth. There's no way she probably should have been in a world title fight with someone like Desley, but it's not her fault, as I said. She turned up in shape, ready to go, and did what good champions do, and just got her out of there. So I really hope she gets another big fight down the track, Big J. She deserves it. By all accounts, she got paid well over there, got the bonus as well. They did discuss during the telecast a couple other names are looking at for her. So the fact that she's with MVP and won that prize or the bonus, whatever it was, shows that she's in the good graces of MVP, and that's exactly where she needs to be. So it looks like they'll get behind her. I can see some really good fights for Desley coming up, some good paydays, and she really deserves it. She really does. She's an ornament to Australian boxing. She's a battler, and she's done it the hard way. She doesn't get all the attention that some of the other little princesses get. She's done it the old-fashioned way, and all the best to Desley Robinson. What else have we got there? Was that about Sky there? Big J. Sky's next opponent is Luna Avil, the former WBC 118-pound champion. Easily the most legit opponent for Sky. Good to see the tomato cans finally taken off the shelf. Excellent test for Sky. I think Tiara Brown would be well up there too, though, Big J, but I get where you're coming from. I reckon I might have seen Luna Avil fight live once. But yeah, very, very good fighter. If it's the one I'm thinking of, she's a very, very good fighter. And yeah, I'm with you. It's about time. I mean, Sky stepped up probably once in her career, and she was beaten by Tiara Brown. So good on her. She obviously fancies herself at 122, and she's going to roll the dice. So good on her. Yeah, and good things come to those people who take risks. And they're good on Sky for finally, well, not finally, but she did it with Tiara Brown, but backing it up with another very, very good opponent in Avil and a former WBC champion as well. So let's see how Sky handles that one. All right, so we had Shanika, or how do you pronounce that? Big day, Shernka. Shanika defends her undisputed title on that garbage Paul versus Tank card, but at least she's fighting. The girls are going great guns at the moment. Time for the boys to pull the fingers out and win some titles. Yeah, I think you got to go a little bit easy on the boys, though, Big J. I mean, there's some bloody good fighters in the world today. I get what you're saying. And look, as good as the girls are going, I take my hat off to all of them. It's just maybe a little easier than what the boys have it. But either way, you can only beat the best of your gender, I suppose. And Shanika Johnson did great. I think what was it? Is it Metcalf, the woman that she beat for the undisputed title? She fought yesterday and had a pretty good win. I think it was an upset win. She beat the girl who was 7-0, which was a pretty good performance, I thought. So probably shines a little bit more light on Shanika Johnson's win over Metcalf. And she talked it up a little bit afterwards, did Metcalf. She wants her belts back. She wants another crack at Shanika. I wouldn't sort of bother if I was Shanika, because, or Neeks we'll call her, because, I mean, she absolutely dominated the first time round, didn't she? So we'll see. But yeah, look, the Paul Tank card, I haven't even really had a look at it, if I'm being honest, Big J. Let's have a quick look on BoxRec and see who's on the card. I think there's mainly females, is there, from memory? Let's have a look. The card's not even up. There you go. Well, enlighten me, Big J. I think I did see there was a couple of, was it Ali Scottney was on there, or one of those girls anyway, were on that card. So, and with Shanika Johnson on there as well, or Neeks Johnson defending her title. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Neeks is going to worry too much who's in the main event. She's going to want to defend her belts, but I'll have to check that card out, Big J, because I don't know who's actually on the card. All right. Where are you? Tony? Hello to you too, mate. Who is the best non-tattooed boxer right now? That's an interesting question. This was a question that was posed to me today by my, of all people, 84-year-old mum, and I'm still scratching my head as to who. Good question. Well, I'm not sure Bud Crawford has got tattoos. What about Nail Inouye? He'd have to be up there. Just trying to think who the other guys are. It'd have to be, I'm not sure. Crawford maybe he's got a couple hidden, but I don't think Inouye's got any tattoos, has he? Hang on, we'll have a quick look through. The best non-tattooed boxer? Good question. I'm assuming Jai's got him, hasn't he? What about someone like Dimitri Bivol? I don't think he's got tattoos. I'm pretty sure Benavides has. Crawford's the other one, of course. I'm pretty sure he might have one. I think he might. But anyway, who else we got there? I'm just going through the divisions here. Janabek, maybe. There's Fundora. He's not probably in the best anyway, is he? Anyway, I would say, in a way, from all accounts, from my memory, I don't think he's got tattoos. But anyway, good question there, mate. All right, Asbot. Sorry, I just lost your comment there. All right. Watching Tim's update since his loss, really got to give him full credit. He's got an awesome attitude, hasn't skipped a beat, totally motivated, not wasting any time. I hope he gets the right trainer. Yeah, well, he has been over there doing some work. Did see some vision of him with Abel Sanchez, Pedro Diaz. I think they're the two. I think they're the two that will come down to, although Ismail Salas might be the other one as well. But either way, he's not going to lose with any of those guys. They've all trained multiple world champions. They're all great trainers. So either way, but I'm with you, Asbot. I've really liked his attitude. I think, again, not to point at someone like a Glenn Jennings, but he does seem a lot happier at the moment. Sometimes a change will do that. I'll stand by what I've said in the past. So I still think Glenn was a little bit hard done by, but hey, it's just business, not personal. And Tim Tszyu looks like he's the happiest we've seen him for a while, which is unusual considering he's coming off his third loss in 4 fights. A really disappointing loss to Sebastian Fundora, but really looks like he's in a really good state of mind at the moment, Asbot. So, once he gets the right trainer, I think you'll see an even happier Tim Tszyu. And then once, obviously, we get a date set in, I think we're going to see maybe the Tim Tszyu we haven't seen in a couple of years. A happy, motivated, well-trained Tim Tszyu. So we will see, mate. But I'm with you. I give him full credit too. Ryan says, good question about the tats. Hard to remember who has them and who doesn't. Pretty sure Bud Crawford is a clean skin, but happy to be corrected. Yeah, I'm not sure. Not sure about that, Ryan. Asbot, another one. Nice to see Danny Garcia end on a big note. Good for him. Seems like a good guy. Yeah, he's a good guy, Asbot. I'm with you. And it was a good knockout too. Left hook. Just flattened, was it Danny Gonzalez, I think his name was, or something like that? I can't remember. But, yeah, really good win by Danny Garcia. I did say this morning, I just hope he doesn't sort of get, maybe misguided in his own thoughts about now he's back and he can compete with the big guys. I'm pretty sure this was at 154 from memory, wasn't it? I think. It doesn't matter. I really hope he probably gives it away, Asbot. He's had a really good career, potential Hall of Famer. I think he'll probably get in. Really good win, and I was happy to see him go out on a good note, mate. So there's Eminem. Is that a different sign there, Eminem? It's Eminem and Eminem. G'day to you too, mate. All right, Frankie. Just walked in the door from work. Stoked to catch you. No worries, Frankie. Thanks for tuning in, mate. Make sure you put a couple of comments in the chat there. Love the opening of your channel. Thanks, Julian. Appreciate it, mate. I actually did that myself. I did that, geez, what's it been, about 3 or 4 years ago? Don't even know, I can't remember where I got the music or anything from, mate, but a few of those clips were from my own shows. I had, especially the 4K sort of versions. That's why you'll see the video. Some of it's really good quality and others not so good because some of it was just ripped off YouTube, but the good stuff there is, vision from my own shows, mate, so that's why they're so good. But thanks, mate, I appreciate it. Saw Paulie Malignaggi's face after his bare-knuckle pursuit. Surely he can still make solid money from broadcasting and the media. That said, he wants to live permanently in Italy, so he may need the dollars. I think it's a little bit of both, Drew, and welcome to the show there, mate. I think it's hard to explain. When you're a fighter, you're a fighter. And Paulie Malignaggi, even though he's probably making some good coin from Pro Box, and I think he's got his own channel as well, and he's probably doing some other things, you can't just extinguish the fire. And this is the thing that's hard, especially at that level, the accolades and, of course, the money and the adrenaline, all that sort of stuff. I just think he misses it. I really don't want to see him do, or anyone do, bare-knuckle boxing, though, Drew. I mean, he won the fight, and I thought he looked really good doing it, by the way. He looked in pretty good nick, didn't he? And boxed really well. But even after that, he came out and he was just marked up and cuts, and, it's just not good. And again, I said this morning, I don't want to jump on my soapbox, but I just think that should not be allowed. The bare-knuckle stuff, because it has a spillover effect. So if someone gets seriously hurt in bare-knuckle boxing, it's gonna sort of portray onto boxing. So there'll be this whole thing to ban it. And I was like, well, while we're at it banning this stupid sport, let's ban boxing as well. And they'll group them together. That's what I don't like about it, because people, non-combat sports people, tend to group them all together. And they don't realize that even though boxing, yes, it's dangerous, it's very rare that something dangerous or something bad will happen where I just see this as a recipe for disaster. Just the way they come out and they're all busted up. Yeah, not for me, mate. But again, it's not as bad as the slap. I need to outlaw that ASAP. So, but they're all big boys and girls. They can do what they want, and I don't have to watch it. I know I'm surprised someone hasn't said it. Well, you don't have to watch it, so what do you care? I get it, but I just don't like how the association with normal boxing sort of come into it. I admire Conor McGregor for getting behind it and being sort of the Dana White of bare knuckle boxing. I get it, and if there's an audience for it, an appetite for it, then people are always going to cash in on it. But yeah, I just think one day that's not going to end well, one of those fights, and the spotlight's going to turn on all combat sports. But anyway, I hope I'm wrong. Eminem, good to see Hass Hamden back sparring. Hope you can have a big 2026. Yeah, well, what was it? Probably has it been 6 months or something, Eminem? I think since he suffered that bicep tear. I'm not sure. Was it a tear? I think it was actually ripped off the bone, wasn't it? Really bad injury. So yeah, good to see him back, and I'm sure he'll have another crack at it in 2026. I'm not quite sure when his ban ends here in Australia, but he can probably get around that by fighting overseas or whatever it might be. I know he has had a couple of fights in Thailand, hasn't he? So, but yeah, I think, and can you believe that he got banned for throwing the ball? I don't condone it, by the way, but geez, 3 years is a big penalty, isn't it? Shadow Boxer. Another thing about Biggs, he's done it facing all southpaws, even the final. Is that right? Geez, you're observant there, Shadow Boxer. I didn't even notice that. All southpaws. There you go. Maybe you might not want another crack at Nikita. All right, Big J. What else you got there? Nikita versus Zarafa should be announced this week. Really think Nikita ain't ready for Zarafa. The inactivity period and a one-round mismatch won't be enough to get past Mick despite his flaws. Yeah, well, it's a good point, Big J, and that's probably one thing I haven't really taken into account. You've watched the videos, I'm sure you have. I've been pretty vocal that I think Nikita can really put a show on against Michael Zarafa. I just think style-wise, Michael's got the experience, he's got power, he's got the size, but I just think technically he breaks down a little bit, Big J, which is why he hasn't really been able to compete outside of Australia. Whether Nikita has got enough to match that, we'll see. But that's probably one good thing, or one really good point you've made there is, yeah, he's had one fight in a year and it went one round. Is it enough to prepare for someone like Michael Zarafa? What's he had? So that one round in a year. And I'm just trying to think when his last fight was before that, but it doesn't matter. Haven't got it there. But yeah, Michael Zarafa, big test for him, Big J. And whether he's got enough to get past him, we'll see. But great news, the fight's going to be announced. Look, Nikita's team obviously thinks he can match Michael, but it's a good point you make there about is he actually prepared for Michael or not? We'll soon see. All right, Wade Ryan. Okay, Wade Ryan returns this weekend. I didn't know that, Eminem. Thanks for that. Who's he fighting? Is it on BoxRec? Let's have a look. All right, the Boogeyman. That's his official name. Oh, yeah, there he is. So he's fighting Kristana Sri Sang, is it? In, where the hell is it? Oh, I thought it said Gundagai there. It's Granada Town Hall. Where the hell is Granada? It was obviously somewhere in Australia. Who else is on that card? So he'd be the main. It's only a 6-rounder. Jeez. The other fights are Salvatore Gattuso and Chunshai Yuen Wong, Ahmed Jaber and Alexander Ale, and Brent Walton, Samuela Naveria. Okay. I'm not sure. I'm just looking to see who's promoting that. So he's from Thailand, lost in his last fight to Daniel Rodriguez. Okay. So who is promoting it? Event name is Bad Intentions 10. So obviously they've done 9 shows in the past. Hus Al Rafi, Final Round Boxing Promotions. I've never heard of him, but good on him for putting on shows out in Granada. wherever the hell that is. So good luck to Wade Ryan. He's back. Adam Kelly. All right. Don't forget I said Biggs will be a world champion. Okay. Well, you are right, Adam. You did say that. I'm not going to go that far, Adam. Look, I admire your opinion and respect your opinions there. If I'm being honest, mate, I don't see it. I don't see it. I'm sorry. I hope so for Australian boxing's sake, but I haven't seen enough at all, even with the Grand Prix. I mean, you got to remember they're all similar type of fighters, similar, like evenly matched type of fighters. They're all got different backgrounds, I suppose, but none of them are real world class. So let's just keep it in perspective. Great for him to have won so many fights. Actually, I'm going to just bring up his record by the way as we speak. Shit, hang on, I can't say that. I just called him Paul Briggs. Dylan Biggs. All right. I'm not trying to rain on your parade either, Adam. I'm sorry, mate. I just don't see it. So he's 16-1 with 9 knockouts. I'm just looking at how many. So he's had 4 fights. So his first fight, he beat Hamza Azim, who was 8-0, so really good win. Then against Cyril Johnson Safo, who was 10-0, so obviously another great win. Then he had Petro Frolov, who was 12-1, and then Lancelot de la Chapelle, who was 17-1-2. So good wins, mate. They are, but I'll just reserve my judgment until I see him in with an actual world-class fighter. That's all I'm saying. I hope you're right. I really do. Looks like a really good guy and has obviously improved a lot. But there's a big step from here to here, mate, and that's why I'm a little bit hesitant about Biggs. But let's hope so, mate. And if you are, I will give you a little bit of a golf clap there, mate. And make sure you remind me to give you a shout out. All right, Richard. What do you got there, mate? Nothing better than an Oscar De La Hoya rant about Dana White, but he's correct on all fronts. I applaud what Dana did with the UFC, but he thinks he runs boxing now. Yeah, I love that, Richard. I was a little bit disappointed in the production though, mate. Normally he has the cameraman there and all the effects and all that sort of stuff and the sound effects as well. But he obviously just did it on the fly and did it in his lounge room, whatever, or his office, whatever it was. But I agree with everything he said, Richard. The main point that he said that I suppose it has to ring true is that he said if no fighter in the sport has a problem with it at the moment, with the Ali Act I'm talking about, and no promoters have a problem with it, the current promoters, apart from Dana White, then why the big need to change it? Why is there something wrong with it when up to this point, since its inception, that no promoter or boxer or anyone has ever challenged it in the past or been outspoken about it or said it's got flaws or issues with the act? Everyone's just said, yep, no, this is fair. And the main thing is the boxers are fair or think it's fair. The promoters are always probably going to try and do whatever they can to score a few extra bucks, and maybe some of them will do some shocking things like try and rip fighters off and all that sort of stuff. But the fighters have been very, very vocal about leaving it as it is and are happy with it. So that shows you that the act is doing the right thing. Remember, it's to protect the fighters. And if the fighters out there are happy with it, then why change it? And Dana White has come in. He's got UFC fighters that he's has managed or promoted or whatever it is in the UFC in the past, all going against him. So does that tell you all you need to know? So current boxers and promoters say, hey, we're happy with the Ali Act. The UFC fighters are saying this guy's a scumbag and he rips people off. But the California State Athletic Commission have already said, yep, we'll give it the tick and we're going to support Dana White getting rid of that bill or amending the bill or the act or whatever it is. So I stand with Oscar De La Hoya on this one. Richard, 100%, mate, like I'm sure you do. And it's a bit like Eddie Hearn. He's a little bit divisive, he's Oscar, but I love both of them. And I've been quite vocal about saying that I hope going forward that it's Oscar versus Eddie, running the world boxing. When Turki Al-Sheikh's had his fun and gone and everyone else is gone, you got Eddie and Oscar, who are both young guys, both around 50, whatever that. So they've got plenty of time left in the sport. Very motivated. They polarize the sport in certain ways, but I think they're great for it. Then we're going to have Frank Warren's son coming through and probably someone else taking over Top Rank. I think it's going to be great. And I know it's just me, it's just my opinion. And I know I'm going to upset a few out there. I can't wait to see the end of Turki Al-Sheikh. I really can't. I know he's done some great things, but I've got my own reasons why. I just don't think he's been great for the sport. And I can't wait till it's Oscar, Eddie, Frank Warren Jr., whatever the hell his name is, and whoever else runs Top Rank, and maybe someone else gets hold of PBC, and we have those guys going at it. I think they would have all learnt a little bit since the Turkey Al Sheikh experiment, since they've came into the sport, Turkey Al Sheikh. I think they would have learnt a lot of things that he's done and the way to go about it, and maybe just motivated them a little bit more. And as I said, I know it'll go against what a lot of you think out there, but I can't wait to see the end of Turkey Al Sheikh and those other guys step back up and hopefully learn their lessons and become better promoters and run Dana White out of town as well. And I'm a fan of Dana White for what he's done with UFC. He's built that into a behemoth. Don't get me wrong, but I don't want him involved in boxing. I think he's come in with the wrong intentions. He doesn't know the sport. He's just saying, oh, well, what works for this, which being the UFC, will work for boxing. Same thing. How can it be different? It's a hell of a lot different. And my main argument has been all along is that he's coming into a sport that is already established. It's 150 years old or whatever the hell it is, probably 200 years old. I don't know. At least 150 years old, you would think, boxing. And it's had its issues. It's got its faults, don't get me wrong. But it is an established sport that is set in its ways. And he's just going to try and come in and, whether it's good, bad, ugly, whatever, he's just going to flip the whole thing on its head and do it his way. Where the UFC was from the ground up and he built it. That's why he got all the fighters on board and all the sponsors. I mean, what's he going to do with the sponsorship in Zuffa Boxing as well? Is he going to do the same thing that he did with the UFC and prohibit sponsorship for fighters? We'll see. And that's why, again, I'm a fan of Dana White as long as he stays over the UFC. I don't want him involved in boxing. Now, I might end up with egg all over my face. Maybe. Maybe he comes in and he cleans the sport up and all the boxers are happy and all the bad elements of a run out of the sport. Who knows? If that's the case, I'll happily take back my comments. But I just cannot see how Dana White is going to come into the world of boxing and make a difference at all, for the better anyway. So we'll see. What have we got there? Drew, rumours are circulating of a potential Pacquiao versus Lomachenko fight due to role is mandatory. This is a huge letdown in light of the fact that Loma was close to fighting Tank before he chose retirement. I don't think it's going to happen, Drew. I did see that. I think they're just throwing around a few names at the moment. I think it just came down to Manny Pacquiao looking to maybe go back to top rank where it all began for him. And Lomachenko is obviously a top rank fighter. I would be surprised, mate. And the thing, if they do it, I think it would be an exhibition, not a fight. You got Manny who fights at 147. I don't think he's going to want to come down too much. He could probably come down 3 or 4 pounds, whatever it might be. But Loma's a very small 135-pounder. I just don't think you could really marry the two up together in a proper fight. Exhibition, no problem. We're seeing it with Jake Paul and Tank Davis. But, yeah, I don't think it's going to happen, mate. But the Rolly Romero fight is an interesting one because I've still got a feeling that even, like I was just going to say, I've got a feeling that they'll have some sort of step aside or something so that Pacquiao can fight Romero. You got to remember, Manny Pacquiao is one of these fighters where what he wants, he gets. And there's only a few select fighters in that category. Canelo's and the Mayweathers, and before that it was De La Hoya and all those types of guys. These days it's Manny Pacquiao still in the mix and being able to do what he wants. So I would think if he says, no, I want Rolly Romero, I think something will be done. There'll be some step aside money or whatever it might be. The only fly in the ointment there, of course, is that, and what is his name? I keep forgetting his name. Where is he at welterweight? His name is Shakram. Is it Givasov or whatever his name is? So I'm hopeless with these names, but we'll call him Shakram. I think he's Uzbekistan. Is that a word? Uzbekistani? I don't know, but we'll call him Shakram. He's promoted by Eddie Hearn. Now, Eddie Hearn's not going to step aside easily. He's going to push the mandatory. He's going to say, no. My guy's mandatory. Stick your step aside money. We want to fight Pacquiao. So that's the issue we have. I've still got a feeling they might get the fight made, but it's not going to be easy. Eddie's going to have his hand out wanting his man to be adequately compensated as far as step aside money, and then he's going to want the next shot no matter what, and maybe even a little bit extra coin as far as the purses go. So we'll see, mate. But I would be surprised if we saw Pacquiao Lomachenko. Just my opinion. There you go, Julian. Better be if has no tattoos. Good call. Yeah, what are you doing there, Eminem, with that name? Eminem. Tony, yep, seems, yeah, Artaberev might be pound for pound non-tattoo world champion. Can we just confirm that Crawford's got none? I don't think he, I think he has got him. What about Inoue? I got Inoue above Beterbiev. So if anyone can show a photo of Naoya Inoue with tattoos, I've got to have a look at him now. Hang on. Naoya Inoue. He hasn't, maybe, because some of them just sneak him in, don't they? I don't think Naoya Inoue's got a tattoo. I'm looking at a picture of him now, and I can't see one. So if I'm going to make a call, I'm going to say that Naoya Inoue is the world non-tattoo champion. Geez, we're grasping at straws tonight, guys. If we're only half an hour in and this is the best we've got. All right, Eminem and Eminem. Biggs must have learned a bit fighting Nikita as he's a southpaw too. Yeah, well, I was just going to say about Nikita. I don't think he'll ever get another crack at Nikita. It'd be interesting to see how he went. If you got another fight with him, how he would go. You remember in that first fight, Biggs landed that right hand straight down the middle that dropped Nikita. So he's got the right style for it. But yeah, it's a strange coincidence that whoever mentioned that before about all being southpaw is pretty crazy. All right, Drew Keeley, how are you, Drew? What do you got there? I believe Mayweather was a better fighter than Leonard. Skill for skill, but feel bemused when people think I'm crazy or blasphemous. That said, I'm fine with anyone's preference. Mate, I'm not going to argue with it at all. I think obviously they're both great fighters. And this is for me, I think I had a bit of a list a while back about the best. If I had a choice of, say, the 5 dream fights of all time that I would put on, regardless of errors and all that sort of stuff, this would be in there. I think. I don't want to contradict myself. Where was it? It was top of the list, actually, Mayweather and Leonard, because I just think they're two supremely talented fighters. I think the thing with Mayweather, Drew, is that a lot of people don't rate him as high as they should because they just don't like him. And I try and take that out of the equation when I'm ranking fighters in things like that. Now, Leonard was 100% a clean skin. Everyone loved Sugar Ray. He was such a charismatic guy outside the ring, could fight like hell in the ring, and just had it, I suppose, like an Oscar De La Hoya. He had it. Great inside the ring, unbelievable appeal outside the ring, and everyone loved Sugar Ray Leonard, even though he had his issues outside the ring. Don't worry about that. But I think with Floyd Mayweather, a lot of people just don't like their idea of what Mayweather is. They don't like the fact in his mind or in their mind that he cherry-picked. I just totally disregard that 100%. Go and have a look at his box rec, guys. Go through it. He's just Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer, sorry. 50-0. And I did say the other day in one of my videos, we always rank Rocky Marciano high because he's had this 49-0 record. It's never an issue when we talk about Rocky. Okay, he's 49-0. That makes him the greatest heavyweight of all time and this and that. Well, I just think it means shit. The numbers don't mean shit to me. But if we're using the same logic, then Mayweather should be pretty much the greatest fighter of all time if he's 50-0. But again, I think they're just numbers. But if you look at Floyd Mayweather's record, I think it's better than Sugar Ray Leonard's. I really do. And some of you are probably spitting out your beer or whatever you're drinking at the moment over the screen. But I just think Mayweather's resume is very, very hard to match by anyone in history. It really is. And I know we'll have the arguments about when he fought guys and he cherry-picked. Mate, all the best fighters in history have done exactly the same thing. And I think he just gets judged a lot harsher because people just don't like him. And again, just take that away. Just put it out of the equation and look at him for what he was. He made some very, very, very good fighters look ordinary. And I'm talking great fighters look ordinary. The only really, in my opinion, great fighter that I would regard as great that actually came close to beating him was Oscar De La Hoya. He's the only one. He made Pacquiao look ordinary. He made Mosley look ordinary. I know they were a little bit later on in the careers, but so was Mayweather. He made Canelo look like an amateur. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm a Mayweather fan. Well, I'll take that back. I'm not a Mayweather fan, but I'm a Mayweather fan, if that makes sense. Mayweather, the person, his persona, and all the stuff he goes on with in his, when he was boxing, not so much in his private life now, I couldn't care less. I didn't really like that Mayweather, but geez, inside the ropes, I loved Mayweather. And going to see him live probably 7 or 8 times over in Vegas, to watch him live and see what he can do up close. It's one thing watching him on the TV, but when you're actually there watching them live and just seeing how they go about it, just an amazing fighter. And who would win between them? I don't know. I have no idea. I really don't. But skill for skill, I'm with you there, Drew. I probably waffled on a little bit there too much, but I'm certainly not going to argue with you, Drew. I can't really decide which fighter is better than the other because they're better in certain ways. Mayweather better defensively, Leonard probably better offensively. Both, great with the feet, both with the combination, the technique, all that sort of stuff. Leonard was probably the faster with his hands and probably his feet as well. But Mayweather had unbelievable IQ as well. It made up for it. So, look, yeah, as far as the argument between them, I have no idea, Drew. I'm just going to say they'd fight to a 12-round draw. That's the best I can, mate. But I'm certainly not going to argue with you, mate. That's for sure. All right, Mr. Pivot 522. Evening all. Paulie's argument is bare knuckle is safer than traditional boxing. Okay, and allows him to extend his career. Unsure if that argument is backed by data, but eye poke nearly cost his eyesight. I can't believe he would say that it's safer. But having said that, he would know. He's had he probably had 30 or 40 pro fights, and if he's saying that bare knuckles safer, I don't know. The only way I could probably see it maybe being a little bit safer, Mr. Pivot, is that the quality of fighters he's fighting is nowhere near the quality he fought when he was in the ring. How could you probably? It's the same sort of rules as far as I know. But in one you've got padding on your gloves, the other one you've got nothing on your knuckles. So I don't understand that. But he's obviously got his argument or his opinions there and his reasons. I'd like to actually see him explain it. I'm sure it's on YouTube or somewhere. But that's a bizarre statement there, mate. But as I said, I'm not going to argue with him either because if he said it, then obviously he's got his own reasons why. And you're right about the eye poke. Yeah, that's the other thing I hadn't really taken into consideration. Getting poked in the eye or thumbed in the eye or... Yeah, I don't know. Not for me. Not for me. All right. Boxing is for everyone. I think Nikita will deal with Zerafa pretty directly. Zerafa, for all of his solid boxing ability, is often right on the line before, during, and after his attacks. This is a thing, boxing for everyone. This is why I said in my video, I think it might have been... Someone asked me to sort of explain why I thought Nikita would beat Michael. And I'm certainly not, again, I'll say, I'm not having a crack at Michael. This is nothing personal. A lot of people say when you have an opinion about someone as far as being a boxer or anything, they think you think that, or they think that you're saying they're a bad person. It's got nothing to do with that. I couldn't care less about Michael and who he is and what he is and whatever. Could not care less. I'm going by what I see in the ring. Okay. And what I see in the ring is Michael being not highly skilled technically. Now, some of the opponents that he's fought in here in Australia, let's just say, have been pretty average, and they've made him look really good. Okay, but when he's gone over to the States or England, wherever it's been the opposite. He's looked pretty ordinary because he's fought elite fighters, and credit to him for doing that, by the way, by going over there out of Australia and trying to chase his dreams. I 100% take my hat off to him. But the facts are, when he's come up against those guys, he's been totally outclassed. Barely won a round against Cal Brook, was knocked out by Peter Quillen, knocked out by Erislandy Lara, and just hasn't been able to get the job done. But when he's fought those lesser lights, he's looked great because they're just pretty average fighters. Let's face it. But having said that, in some of the fights that I've seen him in with those ordinary opponents, and even go back to what was the fight that only went one round, where they had the fight afterwards, and his brother clocked the trainer, whatever his name was. He got tagged numerous times coming in, Michael. And that's why I think if Nikita takes his time and really plans his shot, doesn't get caught up in a firefight, really is patient, lets Michael come at him, I've got a feeling Michael's going to want to have a crack. So if he comes at him, I think Nikita can really make him pay on the counter. I think Nikita is the stronger guy. I know that will surprise some people. Look at these physique, really thick legs, really thick upper body. I think if Michael tries to slug with him, he might be in a bit of trouble. But that's the reason why I think Nikita can win. I just think Michael Zerafa has some technical flaws, and I think Nikita, if he doesn't get caught up in a firefight, can really make him pay. And that's the reason why I think Nikita can beat Michael Zerafa. Again, full respect to Michael Zerafa. I'm glad he's getting his opportunity. I just think if Nikita fights the way we all think he can fight, I think it could be pretty easy work for Nikita Tszyu. So that's, again, just my opinion. There is little bit of a caveat, though. If Nikita gets excited like he has in some of his fights and gets caught and everything goes out the window, that's Michael's best chance. But I think if Nikita turns up, switched on, ready to go, and he's focused, well prepared, all the rest of it, and doesn't get caught up in all the emotional stuff, I think he can win this fight pretty comfortably. Just my opinion. All right, Drew, if you could enter a fantasy world and see a prime Foreman versus Tyson, or a prime Lewis versus Ali, which would you choose? Definitely Foreman and Tyson, mate. Look, Lewis and Ali would be good, but I don't think it'd be overly exciting. Joe Lewis, very robotic, just sort of barely moved his head at all. He would just sort of come in, sort of poke the jab and then land the big right, and it was pretty much over. Different times, by the way. Ali would be on his toes, dancing left and right, where if you got Foreman and Tyson, they both only know one way. Neither one of them can really alter their style. You got Foreman who'd stand up like Ali used to call him, the big mummy, and you'd have Tyson coming in from like way down and trying to come up high. So starting low and finishing high, I think, with Tyson. It'd be a great fight. I think Tyson would actually win the fight. I think depends on what Foreman you're talking about, though, Drew. This is the other thing. Prime Foreman. So which one's Prime Foreman? Is it? I thought he was actually a better fighter in his second career, but he wasn't in his prime. I think he was a smarter fighter. That's the reason why I'm saying that. The Foreman in the first career was just big uppercut, big hook, big uppercut again. That's the way he fought. Didn't have any defense whatsoever. He just got by brute force and power. You watch him. He doesn't even hold his hands up sometimes. He just holds them around his chest and just lets them go. So I think the second Foreman was that the prime Foreman, because he was a lot better fighter. I'm assuming you mean the 70s Foreman, so I'm going to go with that. Dangerous for Tyson. Dangerous for that fight because of the way, all you got to look at is the way he handled Joe Fraser. I think Tyson would be, I think he would fare a little bit better than, he would fare a lot better than Fraser because of the head movement and the speed. You know, Joe was pretty predictable. He just sort of chug forward and throw the big hook to the head, hook to the body, where Tyson would at least be giving him angles, lots of head movement, a lot quicker than Joe Fraser. So I think Mike Tyson, for me, would win that fight. I couldn't see George really nailing him with any of those big shots. I just think Tyson would be a little bit too slick for him early. And as the fight went on, even though Tyson slows down a lot, Foreman did as well. So I'm going to back Tyson to win that one. And strangely enough, I think it could almost go the distance. I'm not sure I could see either one knocking each other out. I know that sounds stupid because I had two of the best knockout records ever in the heavyweight division, but it could end up being a little bit like a bone crusher fight. Who knows? But I think Tyson wins. Lewis and Ali, I think Ali would outbox Joe Lewis, Drew. So, but if I had to choose which one to watch, definitely Foreman and Tyson. Julian, Liam Wilson's fight against the Frenchman was a great fight. Liam's corner advice was impeccable. Yeah, it was, Julian. I didn't really hear a lot on the night in the corner because we were doing the watch along and I had to turn the volume down. But I thought he fought well, really well, Julian. I thought he fought a really smart fight. What was his name again? Hang on, I'll just type it in here. I'm sort of getting my wires crossed with who fought who on that card. There he is, Liam Wilson. No, it wasn't the Frenchman, was it? It was Jorge, or was it Jorge Santana? He was the Dominican Republic, or Dominican. I think that's the right word for it. Dominican. Yeah, I think you're talking about Liam Paro, Julian. I think, but both fights were good, by the way. But Liam Paro's fight with, I'm not sure whether you corrected yourself further, but yeah, Liam Paro's fight with the French, it was a great fight. That was Papo. I thought he fought a great fight, Papo, but also I thought Liam Paro showed a lot that we hadn't previously seen before. Showed a lot of heart, that swollen eye, even under the pump. I thought he was well composed. A little bit worried about the size and strength of Liam Paro, but I'm sure he'll grow into the welterweight frame a little bit more as time goes on. But I was really surprised by Papo. I thought he fought great. A lot better fighter than what I thought he was. So, and even Liam Wilson's fight with Santana, I thought was good as well. That went, I know I must have that mixed up because it only went 4 rounds and knocked him out. But yeah, Papo and Paro, mate, was a great fight. A couple of workmates took their motocross bikes off-road on the other side of Gembrook over the weekend. What's that? Came across 40 fellas setting up backyard bare knuckle, 2 cameramen, a ref, and a first aid kit. Wow, that is crazy. 40 guys in is it what is it that the stuff we've been seeing on YouTube, was it, Tony? That is nuts. So there was 40 guys, 2 cameramen, and a ref, and a first aid kit. That's why I don't like it, Tony. That backyard stuff. I like it, the theory of it. I think I was asked about this last week or the week before, what I thought of it. I love the concept of it. Guys getting it on in a safe place. I don't like that. Just going out in the middle of nowhere and just having a first aid kit and a ref who probably wouldn't know what to do anyway if something happened. So what happens if one of those guys gets knocked out really bad? What are you going to put a Band-Aid on him? I don't like it. That's what I don't like. And they're probably out that far. They're probably a long way from civilization. So, yeah, I don't like it, mate. Again, I like the concept of it, but just do it properly. I don't know why they couldn't do it with it being officially sanctioned by the Victorian or New South Wales Combat Boards or wherever the hell it was, Queensland Combat Board. I'm sure if you did it right and had an official at ringside to do it properly, it will be perfectly legal. They wouldn't have to do it out in the sticks. They could just do it in someone's backyard or a little arena or maybe the backyard of a pub or something. I don't know, but I'm not sure that's what we want to see, Tony. 40 guys, so they've got, 20 fights and a first aid kit. That is just crazy, mate. Really crazy. What's that, Drew? I see you, mate. D-Style and other boxing podcasters flying the flag for Dana, which is fine. I didn't know that, but nobody's mentioning a set strategy or blueprint for a boxing utopia. Visions aren't enough. Well, I'm with you there, Drew. I agree. I haven't seen anything from Dana White yet that has made me feel comfortable in him coming into the sport. He's got all the, like you say there, he's got his visions. But you're right. We've seen no actual blueprint except for saying, oh, well, we're not going to recognise anyone else's belt. We're going to do this and going to do that. It's been more focus on him getting rid of the Ali Act and disrespecting all the other sanctioning body belts rather than actually putting a plan in place and saying, here you guys. So all us naysayers out there, they're putting a blueprint to all us fans out there who are all skeptical and saying, there you go. This is what I'm going to do. This is why it will work. Because he's just saying, well, or more or less saying, well, I'm Dana White, so it's going to work. I've got Turki Al Sheikh's money, so it's going to work. We need more than that. That's not going to make it work. Just because you're Dana White and you've got a lot of money behind you, that doesn't guarantee anything. And I think to get real boxing fans on side or on board and have faith in it and want to support it and give it a go, you've got to sell it to them. And I don't think he's sold anything yet except for, I'm Dana White and I'm associated with Turki Al Sheikh, so you will like it. You will welcome it and you will like it and you won't recognize all the other belts. Really arrogant way to come in. And again, I'm a massive Dana White fan as long as he sticks to his, or as I say, stays in his own lane, in the UFC lane. I don't know. I didn't see the D-Style one there, Drew. I'm surprised that he would back it, D-Style, but I'm sure he's got his own reasons. And I'm sure if he has me back on his show, I'm happy to discuss it with him. But I'll say I just haven't seen anything yet from Dana White that says to me, I've got a plan. Nothing. Or a blueprint, as you said there. Or better yet, a strategy or a structure, whatever you might want to call it. It's just hanging that hat on, I'm Dana White. And this is what's going to happen, and you're going to like it. That's all I've seen. So I'll have to ask D-Style about that. All right. This Grand Prix will only benefit big-time fighting in Australia as a pup is no good. What's that say? Sorry. Will only benefit big... Oh, okay. Big time fighting in Australia as a pup is no good. Yeah, well, as I said before, Adam, it remains to be seen how he goes against the really elite fighters. I mean, the guys he's fought have got really good records. They do. But I don't recognise any of the guys as far as being world-class fighters. So all the very best to him. I hope he does it. But the jury's still out for me anyway, Adam. I hope I'm wrong. All right, Glenn, what do you got there, mate? I think the whole Tikaho Dana thing is terrible for boxing in the long run. Yep, well, I've had my say about that tonight, Glenn. Julian, where would Jai Apatai's boxing career be without Turkey money bags? Do you think the American promoters would have given Jai a shot at a world title. Of course they would have. We've seen lots of fighters get world title shots without having Turki Al-Sheikh behind them. I mean, I know he's had a couple of fights, but you've got to remember, Julian, he won the world title under the umbrella of D&L events with Dean Lonigan. It had nothing to do with Turki Al-Sheikh. I don't think he was even around then or not involved in all the other divisions anyway. I think he was just sort of dipping the toe in the water with the heavyweights over in Saudi Arabia. But Jai earned a world title shot under D&L, won the world title under D&L, and now he's with Tasman Fighters, and they're doing a great job. And you got to remember, Mick with Tasman Fighters is linked up with Eddie Hearn with Matchroom, so of course they're going to have opportunities. He doesn't need Turki Al-Sheikh. I think it makes life a lot easier because if, like in the situation with David Benavides, where there's all these games being played between Golden Boy and Matchroom and Tasman and everything going on, and with Ramirez trying to almost buy his way out of it or price himself out of it, that's where Turki Al-Sheikh comes in handy by coming and saying, all right, boys, let's just stop. Let's get my pen here. What's it going to take? Come on, let's go. And that's the way he solves problems. Now, that might have been an issue if he wasn't around. Maybe the Ramirez and Opetaia fight doesn't happen. But if that doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. There'll be plenty of other. He's the world champion, so there's plenty of other fights there for him. Then he goes to heavyweight, and he gets opportunities up there. People are going to want to fight him. So yeah, I think American promoters. Well, would he even need American promoters? He's got Eddie Hearn with Matchroom linked up with Tasman Fighters, so of course he would get opportunities. Matchroom would be making it happen. All their fighters get opportunities. It might be in a different direction, but they'd all have opportunities. And if Turki wasn't around or he wasn't getting behind Jai, it would still happen for Jai. Don't worry about that. With Eddie Hearn at the helm alongside Mick Francis, I'm 100% certain that he'd be getting opportunities. Might be a little bit harder because Turki does control all the heavyweights, but I think it's probably a question not even worth answering, Julian, because he is involved and Turki's got all the heavyweights and he wants Jai involved. So if he just turned his back on him, maybe that would be an issue, but I'm sure he'd still survive, just like Tim Tszyu did. He got, 3 world titles, after he lost the title, he had 2 world title shots straight away without Turki Al-Sheikh. I'm sure Jai would be the same, and he'd just continue on as he always has. I think he's only fought on a couple of shows anyway, hasn't he, Julian? Jai Opetaia? Let's have a look. And I know the Queensland ones are sort of in conjunction with Riyadh season, but only sort of in a little bit of sponsorship. It doesn't make that much difference. So I'm looking at, so he's had 3 fights in Saudi Arabia. He had 3 in a row, but he hasn't fought over there. Well, sorry, it's been a year. He fought Jack Massey there last year. Before that was Marius Briedis, and his first one was Alice Zorro. So he's had 3 fights in a row. His last 2 have been in Australia, and his next one's in Australia as well. So yeah, no, I'm sure he would have been fine, mate. But he would have gotten world title shots for sure. Shadow Boxer, any update on who Tim is leaning towards trainer-wise? Nah, I've heard it's down to a couple, Shadow Boxer, but I'd just be guessing like you, mate. And Mike Altamura is definitely not going to give anything up, I can tell you. I know him well. He's a good friend, but he ain't giving me shit. All right, Glenn. They got the California Commission to repeal the Ali Act, which is a disgrace. It's by far the biggest commission in the States, all about maximising profits and underpaying fighters. I'm with you, Glenn. I did see that, and that's why it's a big deal, because the California Commission, they are the biggest out of all the states in America as far as boxing events goes. Excuse me. So them being on board doesn't bode well for it not being repealed. But, yeah, I'm with you, mate. It is a disgrace. And all those commissioners that called this meeting a lot earlier than what they were supposed to. It wasn't supposed to happen until December. They've called it early, got it through, and now it's got a couple of things to pass. I don't know how all the American sort of government works. So it's got to go through the lower house and upper house or Congress or whatever hell it is. So we'll see, mate. But it's not looking good at the moment for those wanting to keep it in place anyway. All right, Big J. Another compare the pair. Famishon or Harden? I'm assuming Harding, who had the better career. Well, I would say Jeff Harding, old mate. Big J, I would think. Famishon, well, I don't know. I'm not going to go onto the box rec now, but off the top, I would say Jeff Harding. I mean, Johnny Famechon's a revered fighter. We all love Famo for what he did. But I'm thinking as far as a career goes, I would say Jeff Harding was probably in more world title fights, bigger fights. I don't know. Don't know. I mean, Johnny Famechon obviously had the wins over Jose Legra, fighting Harada, lost it to... Who did he lose to again? Now you got me. Now I'm going to have to type his name in. Did he actually lose it or did he give it up? I can't remember. So Johnny Famechon. I won't go right through his record. I'm just looking to see who he actually ended on. But of course... Okay, but of course my computer's frozen, as it always does. What the hell is going on there? All right, we'll keep moving. But I would say off the top of my hat there, Jeff Harding there, mate. I don't know why my computer has decided not to, or the internet decided not to work. Stupid thing. All right, we'll move on. Glenn, Mayweather's resume was well managed. Let's leave it at that. Well, it's no different to all the fighters, though, Glenn. I mean, I'm just trying to... I get what you're saying. And I've not been defensive about it, but the resume was well managed. Well, isn't that the job of the managers and Mayweather himself? I mean, he fought everyone. And I think if you went through everyone's record, you could pick holes in it about when they actually fought these guys. I mean, geez, if you want to... We're picking holes in resumes. I mean, let's say some of the best fighters of all time. I mean, I think you could do it with all of them. We haven't got time to do it now, but I don't know. I just think he cops a bad rap. I'm just looking at Johnny. Vicente Saldivar was the guy that beat Johnny Famechon, by the way, in 1970. So he beat Jose Legra in 1969 for the world featherweight title. Defended it against fighting Harada. And twice against actually fighting Harada, and then lost it to Vicente Saldivar. So really only won it and had two defences. So I would think that, Jeff Harding for me, Big J, to go back there. But Glenn, look, you're entitled to your own opinion, mate, but I'm just going to disagree. I just think Floyd Mayweather's resume, even if it was carefully managed, I mean, geez, end of the day, he just beat anyone and everyone. So... I think that's just what you got to go on. Just me. All right, Ryan. If Eubank beats Ben for the second time, do you think Canelo would take that fight? Surely he beats Eubank. Could be on the cards, Ryan. I would think that Canelo, well, I was going to say he would maybe want the rematch with Terence Crawford, but I got a feeling he's not going to want it. And I think as much as he's spoken about a Dimitri Bivol rematch in the past, I really don't think he wants that fight either. As I always say, styles make fights. And I just don't think he has the style to beat Terence Crawford, just like he doesn't have the style to beat Dimitri Bivol. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's just the way it is. And I've said in the past, Mexican fighters tend to struggle with fighters who have movement and hand speed and work rate. And that's the fights he's lost against Mayweather, Crawford, and Bivol. So Eubank, on the other hand, I think he would chop down. It's an attractive fight. I think it would have to be for some sort of belt, though. It depends on whether Crawford gives up the belts or whatever. I think Terence Crawford, he'll probably want a rematch with Canelo. He would probably see it as easy money, really, after the first fight. But I think he'll go down to 160. Don't know. The Canelo's the interesting one, Ryan. I don't know what is next for him. I mean, he's got lots of options. There'll be a line out the door for fighters that want to take him on, but yeah, I don't know. Just don't know what's next for him. I think it's either Crawford or nothing, isn't it, for Canelo? We'll see. Choom 2077. G'day to you too, mate. Thanks for tuning in. Risky fight for Nikita. I wonder how much he's getting paid. I got no idea, Richard, but I'm assuming it'd be a fair bit, mate. I don't think they'd take the fight with Michael Zarafa for peanuts, put it that way. Yeah, Parker Wardley. I've got Parker pretty comfortably, Glenn. By rights, anyway. That's the way it should be, I would think. But Wardley's obviously got the power, hasn't he? All right, Jules. Evening. To Mr. Pivot's point, Paulie's argument is that bare knuckle is five rounds at all, and no gloves means fighters can't punch as hard. Risk of brain injury is less, but cuts are much more graphic. Okay, well, that makes really good sense, Jules. Okay, so they're only 5 rounds. I didn't know that. Are they 5 5-minute rounds or 5 3-minute rounds? I don't know. I've never seen it. And you're probably right about the gloves, because that's one thing I did think about when I'm watching them fight, is that, your hands are pretty easily busted up, and we've seen it a lot even when the hands are wrapped and they've got the actual gloves on. A lot of hand injuries. So I thought, geez, if you're actually hitting with bare knuckles, it can't be great for your hands. So you're right. It's probably just more boxing technique, and you're trying to outbox them rather than hit them hard, because if you hit someone really flush and clean with bare fist, you're going to break. Not only probably going to break their head, you're going to break your hand. So it's a good point there, Jules. Yeah, so they more outbox each other rather than the big knockouts. Okay, but yeah, the cuts. Geez, actually, yeah, it's a good point you made there. You're right. The cuts are much more graphic. Paulie Malignaggi didn't seem in a great deal of pain or discomfort. He was just more tired, I think, sitting in the hospital at 4:30 in the morning. Didn't seem too distressed about the cuts, and didn't seem too worried about it. So yeah, you're right. Maybe they are graphic, but not as serious as boxing. But yeah, I don't know. You can still have that, mate. I don't want to watch it. All right, there's a ridiculous whisper rumour getting around. Nikita is ducking Michael. Also, any truth, Grandad refuses the boys to engage with Michael Zarafa. I'd say, Tony, they are exactly what you say there. Ridiculous whispers about Nikita ducking Michael. I think if they didn't want Nikita to fight Michael, they could easily sidestep him, Tony. They could easily just say, well, no, we don't want a bar with Michael. We're going our own way. He 154, he's 160. We're not interested in fighting him. We don't like him. We don't want to fight him, and just move on. And they could get away with it. There might be a few barbs thrown their way by Michael and some of his fans and everything else. But if they wanted to get out of the fight, Tony, it wouldn't be hard. They could easily just say, nah, we're on a different path. He's only had 12 fights, whatever it is. We're just going to guide him along at 154. We're not interested in Michael Zarafa, blah, 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 blah. They could easily get around it. But they've said, no, we'll take the fight. So I think that dispels the rumour of that. And as far as the Grandad goes, yeah, well, that could have played a factor in it, because we all know that he said that when Michael pulled out of the Tim Tszyu fight, that he didn't want the boys to fight Michael Zarafa. I don't know. That might be a little bit of a Chinese whisper as well. I'm not sure. But obviously it's not the case, because they're going to sign the fight and it's going to be announced this week. So Ryan says, Parker for me, stoppage before 6. Yeah, I could see that happening, Ryan. This is Joseph Parker. Yep. All right. Okay, Drew. Not having a shot at your mate Peter Bedell because he's good for boxing publicly. He said Tim is unfairly becoming a forgotten man. Tim will be fine. Unfortunately, Opatai is a media forgotten man. Yeah, just be careful with me, old mate Peter Bedell. Yeah, he does watch the show, Drew. No, it's fine, mate. I didn't actually see his comment about unfairly becoming the forgotten man. You're only as relevant as you are in that moment. And I think a lot of boxing fans had pretty much switched off to Tim Tszyu. I don't think he's forgotten. I think most people know that, okay, he's taking time out. It was a pretty bad loss that he had. He's just got a new management team. He's looking for a trainer. He's got to try and get all that together and then sort of rebuild and see where he's at and train with the new coach, all that sort of stuff. So I think boxing fans have more just switched off from Tim Tszyu. They've taken a bit of a time out from Tim Tszyu because they know it's not like he hasn't changed teams and he hasn't changed coach and he hasn't changed everything that's happened and is out there waiting and coming off a win and waiting for his next opportunity. It's nothing like that. So he's coming off a loss. He's got a new not promotional team, sorry. He's still with No Limit. He's got a new management team, a new coaching team about to be announced. So I just think everyone's just said, okay, well, that's cool. We know what Tim's doing. So we'll just park him for a minute and concentrate on everyone else in Australian boxing and world boxing. And we'll worry about Tim once he's got his pieces in play or in place. And then we'll focus back on Tim. I can guarantee you, Drew, once Tim has announced his coaching team and everything else, and has maybe a fight plan, it'll be a tidal wave of media on him. So I don't agree with Peter on that one. And if Peter's out there, mate, if you want to come on and discuss, just let me know and I'll bring you on. No drama. I've got the interview mode here. I'll have you on and you can answer some questions. We should do that one night, actually. Have Peter on and have a discussion about different things. But, yeah, I don't agree with Peter on that one. Unfortunately, you're right, though. Jai is the forgotten man. I'll take that back. He's not forgotten. He's just out of sight, out of mind, really, for the media. They know who he is. They just choose not to report on him. If there is a proper boxing media out there, not the YouTubers and the Instagrammers and all those, I'm talking about mainstream media. And Peter Bedell, I'm looking at you and all your mates. He's just the guy that doesn't really even exist. It's not that he's forgotten. They choose not to acknowledge that he's around. So I think actually that's probably a little bit unfair. I mean, they do give him a fair bit of play when he's got a fight coming up, but I just don't think he's in play as far as what makes news. Tim's a great story. Nikita's a great story. There's a Rafa fight's a great story. It just comes down to what is the best story. And unfortunately, Jai is just a guy who is a very, very good fighter, respected by everyone, but the media obviously just don't see him as appealing and someone they can really get behind. Look how fast they dropped George Kambosos as well. So unless something out of the ordinary happens with Jai, as far as getting some media attention, I just think it'll just be his career. He'll be more well known overseas than he is here in Australia, which is a shame. But yeah, Peter, respond if you want to. All right, Tony says, I've got Parker by way of knockout late in the fight. Glenn says, yep, drops him TKO later rounds. What's that there, Julian? What's your fight against Tua? Tough, dirty fight. You were well ahead on points. Tua turned nasty with below the belt. Taxi disqualification was absolutely justified. You know, the thing I regret about that, Julian, is after the fight, when they raised the hand, it was like, getting excited. I was pretty embarrassed by that because end of the day, I won by disqualification. Wasn't anything to get excited about. But geez, he hit me low about 6 times if you watch that fight. And the last one was pretty blatant. He was a pretty crazy dude that I'm talking about. I think his name was Alex Tua. I think his name was. Correct me there, Julian. But yeah, he's the one I beat to make the Olympic teams. But he was tough. But yeah, he was pretty dirty, mate. If you watch the fight, hit me low about 6 times. Oh, sorry, Andy. Sorry, mate. I've missed your super chat. $10. Thank you very much, mate. I apologise about that. Congratulations to all the winners over the weekend, especially our unified champ, Desley Robinson. Good stuff, mate. Floyd Mayweather, Sugar Ray Leonard, both greats. He's Danny Garcia, Hall of Famer. Yes, I think he'll get in, Andy. I think they'll find a place for Danny Garcia. Yep, I think so. Had some good wins, 2-time world champs. I've seen other fighters with lesser resumes than him, Andy, get in. So if you're going by that criteria, I think Danny Garcia will get in. Yep, for sure. Yeah, Tony. I think it was Alex Tua. Yeah, he was apparently the brother of David Tua. Tony. Yep. So they said. All right, where are we? Oh, yep. Liam Paro, all good, mate. Does anyone know how that eye of Liam Paro's has healed up? Says Eminem. I don't think it would have had any dramas with it, Eminem. I think it just hit him. You can see where it hit him, of course. It's just on the eyelid there, right on that sweet spot that made it swell up. He would have put the ice on it for a couple of days, and I reckon by now it'd be pretty much back to normal. He might still have a bit of bruising or something around it, but I'm sure he'll be fine. Sometimes you'll see the orbital bone with some damage, but I think it's more so underneath is where it happens. If it's above... Actually, I have seen some bad injuries there, but from what I looked at the replay, it was just the punch hit him right on that sweet spot that, bang, it just swells instantly. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Wouldn't be surprised if it's all gone by now, mate, with just maybe a little bit of bruising or whatever. Yeah, Andy, he was David Tua's brother. Yep. Yes, Eminem, Liam Paro, Paddy Donovan, IBF title eliminator. I like it. Good fight. I watched the Paddy Donovan and Crocker fight again the other day. Well, I cheated a bit. I just watched the extended highlights. I've seen the fight or both fights before, so I just sort of went through when it was announced and had just a refresher, one of those sort of 10 or 12 minute sort of highlight packages they put together. He can fight. I actually still think he's a better fighter than Lewis Crocker. I just think Lewis Crocker fought out of his skin in the second fight. And Paddy Donovan, after the success of the first fight, I just think he sort of left that game plan and just tried to take Lewis Crocker out, which really played into the hands of Crocker, and he outboxed Donovan. Tough fight for Liam. It's a tough fight. Paddy Donovan can fight. Good southpaw, good skills. It's a 50-50 fight for me. The fact it's in Australia, I'm probably going to just go with Liam Paro, let's say 51-49. That's how close it is. I think it's a very, very even fight. And you also got to take in the size consideration. Liam, I know, he's only had the one fight at 147. Paddy Donovan's a real established, good-sized 147-pounder. So you've got to take that in consideration as well. But I've got Liam Paro probably 51-49 or 52-48. That's going to be a close fight. And I really welcome the fight to get the shot at Lewis Crocker. So it should be fantastic. Yeah, Dan, I did see this. Daniel Smart, Danny Garcia said it best when it came to TKO's idea to abolish the Ali Act. It's corporate extortion. I did see that, and I 100% agree with it, Dan. Now, if he didn't see it, Danny Garcia said something along the lines of what will happen, you'll get an established promoter, and they're obviously dealing with a manager or whatever it might be. Sorry, the manager I'm talking about. The promoter might offer the manager, say, $1 million, and say, yep, it's all good. The manager will then go back to the fighter and say, yep, we got a fight for $500,000. And the fighter says, yep, awesome, let's go. And then, of course, then the manager takes his cut of that $500,000, which can be up to sometimes 30%. So not only does he take half his money in the first place, he also takes a cut of his half. This is the example he used. And he said the Ali Act protects that, which is why he's against it. And as I said earlier, Dan, I haven't heard any fighter come out and say that, yep, they're 100% in favour of repealing the act, or any other promoters. It's only one guy, and his name is Dana White. So what's that going to tell you? All right, Andy, I still want to see Jai get a unification fight at cruiserweight. Well, he's in the mix there, Andy. Look, it's going to be tough. I mean, he's got Shinkara, in December. I would think he'll have one more fight before, if he does fight Ramirez, he'll have one more fight. Because I would think that Ramirez will probably fight mid-year and it'll be a tune-up. I don't think he'll go straight into a title fight with, what is it? Because I think Billum Smith and, what's his name? The Frenchman, is it? Roman Frez, the German. They're apparently going to fight for they are going to fight for the interim WBO belt, and you'll laugh with the purse bid. It was supposed to be a minimum 300, and for this fight they halved it to 150. So these guys are going to share $150,000. That's it. So Bill and Smith and Roman Frez are going to share 150 grand for this WBO interim title. I don't think Ramirez will go straight back into fighting Smith. He's already beaten him, of course, all Frez, so I don't think he'd see much of a challenge. I think he'll have a voluntary fight first, and then he'll fight maybe Jai after that. And if he doesn't fight Jai after that, if I was Jai, just move up. I know he wants all the belts. I get it. But, geez, you're just wasting time. There's literally no one else in the cruiserweight division, bar maybe Badu Jack, or if Michalalian, or whatever his name is, does beat Badu Jack, maybe that's a path they could go down to. But it's just, apart from Ramirez, there is no exciting fights for Jai at that weight. And if he has to wait another year, I don't know. As much as he wants those belts, I'd just be looking to move up. I really would. All right. Zerto simply doesn't want the Jai smoke. That's very evident. Yeah, I think so, Eminem. Look, I think if the money's right, and I know this is playing hardball at the moment, playing funny buggers, but I think the fight will happen. I really do. But they're doing their best to sort of get out of it. But I think unless they get the fight with Badu Jack, or they get a fight with Jake Paul or whoever, or David Benavides, I think they'll take any of those options. But if those options aren't available, I don't think you'll have a choice but to fight Jai Pataya. If the boxing fraternity are demanding the fight, and Jake Paul decides he doesn't want to fight him, David Benavides decides to stay at 175 for the time being, and Badu Jack gets retired or just fights other people and doesn't want to fight Zerto, there's no one else for him to fight. What does he do? So I got a feeling he's going to be backed into a corner and have to fight Jai Pataya. Just my gut feel anyway. All right. Tony, have you met Carly Meehan, and what are your thoughts on his career for an ex-heavyweight boxer? He comes across as a highly articulate, very intelligent fella, very good behind the microphone. Yeah, I've met Carly a couple of times, Tony. Yeah, and you're right. Very well spoken, very articulate, very smart, and obviously he was a good boxer back in the day. Just a nice guy. Yep, and I think he does a really good job behind the microphone as well. I think he might have even commentated. Oh, did he? I think he might have commentated one of my shows in the past. I can't remember, but yeah, good guy and good commentator. I gave him $1. I think Joe knocks Wardy out in 5 or 6. Yep, good call, mate. All right. Oh, okay. Any idea when Cooper might be fighting next? Just keep an eye on this, Eminem. There might be some big news for Cooper coming very soon. I can't say too much, but he's taken the plunge. If you've obviously followed the channel, watched the videos, all that sort of stuff, Cooper and come over to Las Vegas for the Crawford and Canelo fight. Went back a week later. He went over there, sparred Kermel Maton and a couple of other really good guys, and got the attention of Eric Berlinger over there, the coach, who has split T boxing. Cooper came back a week later, went back again. He's been there for, I think, the last 3 or 4 weeks. And, yeah, as I said, some big news coming for Cooper Eminem, but I can't say too much at the moment. Some exciting stuff. Stuff that happens when you go and take a chance and shake the tree and put your balls on the chopping block, Eminem, and good things happen. That's all I'll say. All right, Mark. Pretty Boy Floyd was great. Money Mayweather was great at, let's say, picking his fights and opportune times. Okay, seems I'm in the minority here. And in my opinion, a lot of corrupt judges got him to 50. I wouldn't say corrupt judges, Mark. I think there's only really a couple of fights that I thought might have been in doubt. One was the Castillo fight and maybe the De La Hoya fight. I thought he actually beat Castillo. Maybe it was a draw, and I thought maybe De La Hoya might have been a draw as well. I'm not sure I would have actually said either one of them actually beat Floyd. But as I said before, though, Mark, I just think a lot of people target Floyd as far as when and where he fought them, all that sort of stuff. But again, you can pick holes in anyone's resume. At the end of the day, he fought, I think it was over 20 Hall of Famers and beat them all. I mean, geez, you can't do much more than that, can you? Surely. Just my opinion. All right. J Beebs 300. Okay, in 3 years, who's pound for pound top 3? Shakur, Ennis, and Bam. Who else makes the list? Very good question there, J Beebs. I'm going to need a drink to have a think about this. Pound for pound top 3 in 3 years' time. Oh, geez. All right. I don't think there's anyone in the heavyweights. I don't think Jai will get to number inside the top 3. 3 years' time. I'm just going to say maybe Benavides could be in there. No one at super middle. No one at middle. All right. At 154, definitely Boots Ennis could be in there. Definitely Shakur Stevenson could be in there. Top 3. And will Inoue still be around then? Maybe not. Maybe Nakatani? Nah, maybe not. Jeez. Yeah, that's a good call you got there, J Beebs. I think you might be right. I would probably say, yeah, Shakur, Ennis, and Bam. Yep. Who else makes the list now? Geez, you put me on the spot there. In 3 years' time, I think Benavides will be there. Opataya will be there. Hang on, now I'm going to go back through my list just quickly. 3 years' time. Jai. Benavides. That's 2. What am I up to? 5. Oh, geez. Geez. Put me on the spot here. Nakatani. I think he'll still be around. Richardson Hitchens, maybe. Jeez. Don't think. Well, Lopez, maybe. And yeah, that's going to have to do for now. Fill it in there, guys. Who we got? I think I got up to about 8 there anyway. Anyway, I'll move on. Good question, though, J Beebs. I appreciate that one. All right. Despite a huge bag of cash on offer for Crawford versus Canelo 2, I'm not convinced Canelo will want that fight. Part of me feels he might know he would lose twice and might want to avoid that scenario. Yep, exactly what I said earlier, Drew. I just think, like the Bivol fight, I think he'll say, yeah, you know what? I think I'll just give that one a miss. And I wouldn't blame him. At this stage of his career, he's not going to beat Crawford. He's not going to beat Bivol. So why just go through the motion? Unless, of course, Turkey says, well, I'll give you another $100 million. It's like, oh, well, who cares now? I've got my $100 million. Who gives a shit? But I think if he had a choice, he wouldn't want to fight Crawford, mate. But who else is there to fight, like we discussed earlier? Of those three, says Mark, it has to be Bam, Boots. Boots will still be fighting bums, and Shakur style ain't getting him to pound for pound one. Well, I think you might be wrong there, Mark. I think Shakur's style. Just look at his last fight though with Zapata. Stood his ground and outfought Zapata. I thought it was a great performance by Shakur. Boots, in 3 years' time, I think he'll have a good resume. I think he'll be top three. Glenn says, no way Canelo takes the rematch. It's a repeat of the Bivol situation, which he walked away from. Oh, and he sucks. Ryan, to be honest, Canelo taking a $100 million fight against Jake Paul, then retiring from professional boxing. Oh, you see. Okay, him taking the Jake Paul fight. Well, if he does, good on him, I suppose. I would hate for him to do it, but if he's going to get $100 million, good luck to him. So that Jai is more well-known in the UK media. He is, Richard, and it's just a slight on Australia, isn't it? Really, that he's more well-known over there. They give boxing a lot more airtime over there, though, Richard. They've only really got boxing, soccer, and darts over than snooker over there, haven't they? That's all they sort of watch. I'm surprised the media don't play the angle that Jai is cousins with Tim Cahill. Cahill is super popular. I didn't actually know that, Polly. There you go. Good call. And if I don't know it, the average person out there doesn't know it. Good call. Andy agrees with Danny Garcia being in the Hall of Fame. Assuming Jai goes to heavyweight, who wins, Jai or Dubois? Jai up a tie for me. J Beebs. I think we would see a repeat of the Usyk fight. Maybe not as clear cut as that, but I still think Jai would just box rings around Dubois. Yeah, be excited, Eminem. Lots coming for him, mate. Really glad he's doing well over there. I was talking about Cooper O'Connell here, by the way. But he says he's not coming back already. See what it's like after he's lived over there for 6 months. It's great to visit over there, but living over there is a bit different in Vegas. But yeah, it's really excited for him too, mate. All right, Mayweather is the only boxer to have mastered the art of boxing and the business of boxing. Good call, Jules. That's why he beats Leonard, because he doesn't take a fight unless it's in his favour. The guy's a genius. 100%, Jules. Couldn't have said it better myself, mate. What's next for Bam? Well, he's fighting pretty soon, Andy. I'm sure someone's actually already pointed that out. I'm a little bit behind, but I think he's got a fight coming up at the end of the year, hasn't he? I'll have a quick look in case no one else has brought it up. I'm sure they have. Jesse, where are you? Bam, there he is. So he's fighting on November the 22nd, so in a month's time. He's fighting Fernando Martinez, 18-0 on the Riyadh season card for the WBC, WBO world titles. Also on that card, Abdullah Mason, Sam Noakes, Brian Norman Jr., Devin Haney. What a card. David Benavides, Anthony Yard. Now, I don't know whether Arda Beterbiev and Dion Nicholson is still going ahead, but it's still on BoxRec. That is a great card. Really good card. So when is that? The 22nd of November. What a day in world history. That is the day that JFK got shot. I was actually over in Dallas last year on that date. And actually in Daly Plaza on the anniversary of his death, and lots of people there. It was pretty cool, actually. Mayweather fanboy in the house. I'm not a fanboy, Glenn. As I said, I wasn't a massive fan of his at all, but you got to call it the way you see it. And the facts are, and I'll repeat, facts, F-A-C-T-S, is that he is one of the greatest fighters of all time. That is fact. And it doesn't matter whether you like him or not. And I hate to say too, Glenn, but whether you like it or not, Canelo will go down as one of the greatest fighters of all time. I'm just saying. All right. Yes, Derek Chisora, Big Baby Miller, looks likely. Thoughts? Yes. Look, I think it's a good fight for Derek Chisora. Big Baby hasn't fought since he drew with Andy Ruiz last year. And before that was a loss to Dubois. So a good time to get the Big Baby Miller. Look, I don't know. I think you'd think that Chisora should actually win that fight. I've never been a fan of Chisora. I've always thought he's been very, very limited. But, you know, being his supposedly last fight, I still don't know why it would be his last fight. I know it's his 50th fight. I don't know why they would be looking at it to be his last, considering he's ranked number 1 with the IBF. If Alexander Usyk retires next week, well, what does he do after? Well, maybe a week after the fight. Was he just, I'll just let my number 1 ranking go and won't fight for the belt? Of course he's going to fight for the belt. So good in theory having his 50th fight. And I'll say it again, I don't know why they're making such a big deal of Derek Chisora having his 50th fight. But anyway, they are. But yeah, good matchup, Glenn. And I think, I'd probably put my money on Chisora to maybe win on points on that one. All right, Richard Mayweather made a truckload against Conor McGregor, knowing well that Conor would get a payday while he gets a W and the majority of the cash. Yeah, well, that's probably the only blemish I would say on Mayweather's record, Richard. But on the other hand, it's also a masterstroke. I don't like the fact he chose Conor McGregor for the 50th fight. It was an easy pick for him, wasn't it? I know at the time everyone was all excited about Conor McGregor being the UFC champion. All the UFC nuffies ate it up, didn't they? But I think anyone that really knew boxing as such looked at Conor McGregor and thought, okay, how is this guy going to have a chance against Mayweather? And it just proved to play out that way. Floyd absolutely just played with him for 10 rounds and put him out of there. I mean, Conor had okay boxing skills, but Mayweather could have took him out in 3 or 4 rounds if he really wanted to. But that's the only probably real criticism I've got from Mayweather on one hand, that he's actually chosen Conor McGregor as an opponent. But on the other hand, it's like, how smart is this guy to actually pick Conor McGregor, the biggest name in UFC, with a legion of fans who are going to all stump up for the money, knowing full well that there's no hope in hell he's going to lose the fight. Stroke of genius. I don't like it from a boxing point of view, but I love it from a business point of view. He played more so the UFC crowd for idiots, really. I think all the boxing fans, a lot of them just went to see him fight because it's Floyd Mayweather. I don't think the pay-per-views would have really come a lot from boxing fans, but they would have had a shitload come from the UFC fans. And I think that's where the market was sort of aimed at. You even look at the press conferences and all that sort of stuff. They're all UFC fans in the crowd. They all were. All the boxing fans would have went, "You're kidding, aren't you?" and not bothered. Maybe a few would have went just to catch a glimpse of both guys, and that's fair enough. But I think if you're looking at the interest from both sports, I would say it would have been 90% UFC and 10% boxing. But as I said, the business brain on this guy is just out of control. To make, as they say, about $1 billion out of the sport, you've got to take your hat off to him. And I just implore everyone again, just take out the fact that you don't like him and look at it for what it is. The greatest businessman in boxing of all time, and in my opinion, one of the greatest resumes of all time, and one of the greatest fighters of all time. And again, I'm not that big a Floyd Mayweather fan. I'm just giving him his flowers, as they say. Oh, sorry, Glenn. Talking about Jules. Sorry, mate. Sorry. All right. People aren't going to like this as far as Mayweather is concerned. You don't beat 23 past and present champions by cherry picking. They can't all be a product of careful management. Drew, there you go. That's all I was trying to say. You hit it on the head. I'm happy to go through the resume if you want me to, guys. I'm happy to, but I'm sure Glenn and whoever else out there doesn't want me to take up 5 or 10 minutes talking about Floyd Mayweather. What do you got here? We've got Yes BB. We'll call you. Thanks for commenting there. Yes BB. What do you think about Turkey lying to the people, saying no more pay-per-view, only to make Benavidez pay-per-view for $60 American? It's a time for Turkey people to make a profit. Well, I forgot all about that, actually. Yes, BB, and I'm with you. He did make a point of saying there'll be no more pay-per-views. Now, maybe it's after a certain period. Maybe there's a bit of a crossover period with DAZN. Maybe it's going to be next year. I don't know. I can't remember the exact context that he used, but he did say from now on there'll be no pay-per-views. I'm just going to hand the fights, 2-year free of charge. That's not going to last. So, yes, I'll call you BB. There's no way that's a viable business plan. Even for a guy that seems to have unlimited money. I mean, how is it you're supposed to run a business if you're losing millions and millions and millions of dollars every fight? I mean, apparently he lost up to $50 million on the Canelo and Crawford fight. Now, the odds are it wasn't even his money. It's Riyadh's season's money or the kingdom's money or whatever the hell it is. So he doesn't care. But at some point, he's going to get pulled up on that. Now, I'm sure there's got to be a point where the powers that be of Riyadh season say, now, Turkey, we've given you the keys to the city here to say, okay, we want to attract people over here. We want to use this money to attract people to spend money here, not just for you to be, I think, as Glenn would say, a fanboy of boxing and waste all this money. Now, I don't care as much as I love Canelo. There's no way he was deserving of $150 million. And on that point, probably Crawford wasn't really entitled to $50 million. Really it should have been maybe 60 or 70 for Canelo and maybe 25 or 30 for Crawford. That would have been a more realistic amount. But no, we'll just puff the chest out and beat it and say, look what we're doing for boxing. We're going to pay one guy $150 million. It is ridiculous. And Canelo would have fought for half of that. No doubt whatsoever. So he has told a few porkies there, BB, but just to answer your question there, yes, I forgot about that, and I don't like it. The fact he said no more pay-per-view, and now he's charging $60. And Benavides versus Yard is not worth $60. Although having said that, the rest of the card might make up for it. What did I say? Abdullah Mason, Sam Noakes, Bam Rodriguez, Fernando Martinez, Brian Norman, Devin Haney, and Beterbiev and Nicholson maybe. So, yeah, okay. I would pay $60, but you're right. He did say there was no more pay-per-view, so pony up, Turkey, and stick to your word. All right, Mark. Couldn't disagree more. Mayweather has had a big hand in the way boxers act now. He was really bad for boxing, in my opinion. Hey, another good call, Mark. I'm certainly not going to go against that one either. There's good to have an opposite side of the argument. Good call. He is very guilty of making fighters think that unless they're undefeated, they're not worthy of pretty much being in the sport. They lose a fight and the career's over. And fans, to that same extent, go, you mean what? He lost? That's it. His career's done. It's all over. He's lost the fight. It's all over. You lose the fight in boxing and it's done. UFC, on the other hand, I don't think they really give a shit about records in UFC. They're just looking for the best fights at the time. And you see a lot of the really top UFC fighters with 5, 6, 7 losses on their records because they always fight the best. Now, that is one good thing to come out of the Dana White model. I still don't think it works in boxing, but that's another argument. But you are right, Mark, that Floyd Mayweather did in fact, or has in fact, instilled this whole thing about it is an O record or you're wasting your time. Fighters are scared to lose the 0 or the O. Fans think fighters are finished if they lose a fight. So, and that is the Mayweather effect, 100%. So, good call. We can see it, Glenn. I'm just saying, apart from that, you got to have two sides of the argument. As I said, I 100% agree with Mark with what he said then, but also stick by my comments. As a fighter, Floyd Mayweather, top 5 of all time, top 5 resume of all time, and number 1 businessman of all time. So, all right, Drew. Too many people get caught up in the feelings toward Mayweather and not the fighter or his career. I'm not a fan of the guy, but his accomplishments and ability speak for themselves. That's exactly my sentiments, Drew. I'm not a big fan of Mayweather either, but his accomplishments, the accomplishments and ability speak for themselves. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm certainly not a Mayweather fan, but I totally 100% respect and admire what he's done in his career, and I think he's top 5 all-time pound for pound. Floyd has treated everyone that follows boxing like idiots, and some people seem to lap it up. Oh, yeah, I agree to some point there, Mark, but on the other hand, I don't. I think he's just used fans to make himself rich. I mean, he's been controversial. He's been the showman. He's hyped up his events probably more than anyone in history. Is that treating them like idiots or just making the best of a situation? Maybe we are idiots because we all ate it up. He's got, I think, 4 of the top 5 pay-per-views of all time. So he's done something right. That's not really treating us like idiots. That's just taking advantage of who he is. The fact that people don't maybe like him. They all, want to bring him down. So maybe he's just used that and run with it and made $1 billion out of it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's treated everyone. I think he said, hey, this is who I am. This is what I offer. And if you want to be part of it, let's go. If you don't, well, screw you, basically. So we kept paying for his fights. We kept going over there to watch his fights. So I don't know. I don't think he treated us like idiots. I think we just were just following him like the Pied Piper. Don't know. All right, if you want to talk about his resume, compare it to Oscar's. Well, I think, I don't know. Well, I won't do it now, Glenn. I might do it for maybe a walking boxing episode. I don't think you could say Oscar's. He's probably fought just as many great fighters as what Floyd Mayweather has, but Oscar also lost to a lot of those guys. It's probably a bit late to get into the whole conversation about all that, but where am I? No, I can't bring it up. Look, Oscar's is a resume almost second to none, Glenn. I'm not disputing that at all. It is an unbelievable resume, and the reason I respect Oscar even more is that he actually fought most of those guys at their peak, lost to a lot of them, beat a lot of them as well. But I think even with the losses, I think that's why even these days, even the fans that maybe don't like Oscar as well and don't like his persona that he has now, still love him as a fighter because he did fight all the best at their peak. And he lost to a lot of them, as I said, but fans respect it whether you like him or not. You respect his career. So I'm not disputing that at all, Glenn. All I'm saying is I think Floyd Mayweather's resume 100% compares to Oscar with one big difference. There's a big zero beside Floyd Mayweather's record where Oscar had, 5, 6 losses or whatever it was. What do we got here? Yeah, all of it. What does it say? What do you disagree with, Mark? All of it. Can't stand Mayweather. As I said, Mark, I'm not saying I'm a massive fan of Mayweather. I'm not. I'm certainly not. All I'm just saying is put that aside and look at his record and his resumes. It is second to none, mate. I couldn't care what people think of him as a person. Irrelevant. Doesn't matter. As his resume, I just don't think you're going to get any better. All right, just one last string there. All right, the Ring magazine is set to be the only approved media outlet that will be allowed to give coverage on Turkey and Dana's boxing events moving forward. No other media outlets will be given access. Well, that is the downfall of the Ring magazine, Dan. How can you do that? You're supposed to be impartial. They're going to rename it the Zuffa magazine. That's what it's going to become. So that is ridiculous. That if you're looking to alienate boxing fans straight away, that's the way to do it. The Ring magazine is revered by all boxing fans. The belt is still seen as the number one belt in boxing. And you're just going to turn your back on all those fans and say, nope, we're only going to recognise our own events. That is just suicide, career suicide I'm talking about. And that will turn the fans away in droves. They will not read the magazine. They won't rate the magazine. Yeah, good way to turn away half your fan base. But yeah, that is ridiculous. Oh, hang on. Sorry, Dan. I've taken that the wrong way, have I? The only approved media outlet will be allowed to cover the Zuffa events. Okay. So no other media outlets will be given access. Okay, sorry. I misinterpreted that. Geez, that is nuts. All right. So all the other magazines and sites won't be allowed in. That is crazy. Again, I'll stand by it. That is career suicide for that organisation. All right, Drew, I actually believe the age of crossover fights is now dead now that we have seen Mayweather, McGregor, AJ Fury, and Ngannou. I think that horse is bolted. Let's hope so, Drew. Let's hope so, mate. What's that, Jules? Boxing is a business. You don't have to like Mayweather, but he perfected it. Yep, I agree. 21 title defences. For context, how many title defences have Aussie boxers had in the last 5 years? Oh, geez. Jai's had what? I think 3, has he? 3. Liam Paro had none. George Kambosos had none. Tim Tszyu had none. Jason Maloney had 1. Yeah, it's a good call, Jules. Remember when Eddie and DAZN lied to us saying no more pay-per-view and in no time they were charging pay-per-view? Yeah, they all start saying that, but at the end of the day, they've got to pay for the events, don't they? All right, Glenn. I'm no Canelo fan, but at least he didn't base his career on never losing and took chances like Bivol. He perfected the swindle of some pretty gullible people. Yep. Don't hate the player, hate the game, Glenn. That's all I can say, mate. Floyd never took a beating in his life and he exited the sport with his health and faculties. There's more at stake in this business than wins and losses. Yep. I think he took out of the sport exactly what he wanted to, Jules. A perfect record, $1 billion. And I don't think he sits around at night on his phone thinking, why doesn't everyone like me? I could not I don't think he could not give a shit, to be honest. Drew, has anyone seen the mysterious Zuffa belt yet? Does it glow in the dark? Does it have an obnoxious Z on the front of it? Or does it have Dane's face on the front of it? Probably all three there, Drew. It's a glow-in-the-dark belt with a big Z with Dana's face on it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure it'll be pretty flash, but why would you call it the Zuffa belt? What exactly does Zuffa mean? Is there actually a meaning in the dictionary? I'm going to have to Google it now. Zuffa meaning. Does it have a meaning? Is it the name of someone's dog? Or someone's mother-in-law or something? Who knows? All right, I think it has got a Oh, it has. A translation means brawl, scuffle, or fight. Well, that does make sense. Why do you got to call it that for then? It still doesn't make sense to me. Anyway. Did you bump into Floyd back in Atlanta 96? Yes, I did, Richard. Strangely enough. Only once, though. I can't remember. I'm not sure whether we were getting photos taken or there was... I can't remember. There was some sort of media thing and... the American team were right at the front, of course, being the host country and everything else. They had all the fighters mingling there, and Australia, I think we were second or third back. And I remember everyone was just mingling around and waiting to go in. And I remember seeing them all there. I didn't obviously know who they were. They were all just amateurs like we were. But I remember seeing Antonio Tarver. I remember seeing Fernando Vargas. I remember seeing Floyd Mayweather. I think that was about it at the time. Who's the big guy? Is it Nate Campbell? No, that was the big heavyweight. I saw him as well. Yep, I did, but I did bump into him, mate. But obviously, had no idea what he would become. What's that, G? And I thought boxing from a fan's point of view was about the boxing. Glad you're a business fan. Well, you got to respect both, though, Glenn. Floyd Mayweather did both. Unbelievable career and made $1 billion. I don't know how you can't respect that. Mayweather is why we have BS fighters like Tank and Boots. They have no ambition to be the best, but a position in a way that just milks money from foolish fanboys if that's good business. Yeah, well, as I said, don't hate the player, hate the game. That's the way it is. We all paid the money to watch him fight, and he still beat everyone that he put in front of him. I don't think you can compare Mayweather to guys like Tank and Boots. These are guys that fight once a year and haven't really tested themselves really against anyone. Mayweather still fought anyone and everyone in his era. Maybe one or two you could probably leave out. But and he definitely did have the ambition to be the best. I mean, hey, guys, this guy is a 3-time world champion, multi-world champion. I don't know where the hate is coming from. He's I just don't think you can lay shade on his career. I mean, his career just speaks for itself. He's got a room full of belts and an undefeated record and $1 billion. I don't know. I'm not a fan. I just can't help but give him his credit. What's that, Shadowboxer? If we're talking strictly boxing, Floyd's skills are next level, absolute savant. Yeah, I agree with that. What's that, Glenn? So you think his skills are better than anyone's ever? I would say, I'm with Shadowboxer, I would say defensively, yep, top 5 for sure. I would say even top 3 overall. Yep, for sure. Yep. Handy hint for you all. WBA shows on Boxrec if you're subscribed. Oh, there you go. Cost 99 cents a month, and there's also a fight predictor. Okay, good call. I didn't know that. It gets really hard, Eminem, when you're going through Boxrec and you're trying to get information. You think, oh, was that for a WBA belt or wasn't it? And is it for an undisputed or just a unified? It's really hard not having WBA on there. Let's hope that they all make up and WBA goes back. Yep, Zuffa is Italian for fight or brawl. My dog is Zuffa, says Drunken Boxing. All right, the ring belt is supposed to be the main belt and the Zuffa one as a secondary belt. Oh, here we go. We've got secondary belts. Okay. In Turkey and Dana's plans, but does the ring belt hold as much sway as I think it does? I think not. To be honest with you, Drew, I've never looked at the Ring magazine being the belt or the WBC belt being the belt. I look at the division and look at all the people that have the belts and say, well, for me, he's the champion. And whether he's got the WBA belt or the IBF belt or the Ring belt, it's sort of irrelevant to me. I'll look at him, anyone that's got a belt, and I'll say he's a champion in my eyes. That's why I look at it. But Zuffa as a secondary belt. So the Ring belt is the world title belt, and the Zuffa belt is now what? on a par with the 4 other belts that don't exist. I don't get it. I don't want to get it. It's just confusing to me. Jones, thanks, Dan. Nate Jones became one of Floyd's trainers after his amateur career. Yeah. Quick story about him, Dan. When I was in Vegas once, I jumped in the elevator to go up to my room, and Nate Jones was actually in the elevator, and he saw I had, I think I might even, who was he fighting? Might have been Canelo, and I think I had a Canelo shirt on. So he obviously looked at me and sort of, and he sort of said, "G'day." And he said, "Oh, you're heading to the fight." Yeah. Got talking. I said, "Where are you up to?" He was actually on his way up to the rooms where all the team, or Mayweather team, is that what they're called? Yeah, Mayweather team, were up on the top floor of the MGM Grand. He was on his way up there, and I was like, "Can I come?" He's like, "No, brother." But he was actually a good guy in the even though I had a Canelo shirt on, he was pretty good. All right, Eminem, the Bam Martinez fight is for 3 belts, WBC, WBO, and okay, Martinez has the WBA. Thanks, mate. Zuffa is also a media organisation in which Dana works with as far as the UFC is concerned. Yeah, I thought that was the case. What's that, Shadow Boxer? Who was the hardest puncher you ever fought? Pretty easy one, that one, Shadow Boxer. Richie Rolls was or Richard Rolls. He was my Olympic and Commonwealth Games teammate, I think he was. We fought at the 93 Nationals, and we sparred a lot of rounds. In the 93 Nationals, he put me on my ass. Right hand straight down the middle, put me on my ass. And we sparred probably 50 times after that. And he was a shock puncher. He really was. He could well, I actually literally did see him cave someone's face in with a right hand, like cave the bone in crazy. He could punch. Timing, balance, just everything. He was a great, and he didn't look like a big puncher. Wasn't short and stocky and everything. He was a tallish sort of guy, long reach, but just a beautiful, well-balanced fighter, and timed it so beautifully. He was the hardest puncher, Shadow Boxer, for sure. Why do we never talk about lineal champions? Well, don't we, Jules? Isn't that the Ring Magazine champion? I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be the lineal champion. I don't know. I think that's the sort of way we sort of look at it. If you've got the ring belt, you're the lineal champion, even though it mightn't have 100% come lineally. Is that a word? Don't know. But, yeah, I think that's the way we look at it. So Mark does. He sees Jamel Charlo is lineal champ at 154. What happens, though, Mark, though, because obviously he didn't lose the belts. They're all vacated. So who is now the actual, once Jamel Charlo is actually officially out of the picture, who is the actual lineal champion? This is the big question, because 4 people can say, well, I am, but none of them really are. Which one is it? Who's got the ring belt? Is it Fundora? I'm not sure. Is there a Ring Magazine champion? I don't know, but I'm with you, Mark. I 100% agree. He technically is, but he hasn't fought for, 2 years? And once he's gone, who is the actual champion? It's pretty much a coin toss, isn't it? Because they can all say, well, I've got a right to call myself the lineal champion. So, what's this, J Beebs? To attempt to end the debate. Okay, Floyd, yep. Floyd's skill set and achievements are top tier. This is fact. Any other opinion is uninformed and educated. Oh, I wish I hadn't said that, Beebs, because I've got a feeling we'll be here till midnight after that comment. Where are you, Glenn? All right. Speaking of Glenn, why does Floyd never talk about undisputed champions? Does he? I wouldn't have a clue. Why would? I don't. Well, see, I think it wasn't. I think when he was around too, he was never that stressed about becoming undisputed champion. I think he was just interested in beating the guy in the division and making a lot of money while he did it. That's all. I don't think you can really slight him for not talking about wanting to be undisputed. I mean, Manny Pacquiao was never undisputed. Oscar De La Hoya was never undisputed. So, and Chavez wasn't undisputed. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's a big deal. Julian, Mayweather, Madonna, what a fight it was. Mayweather simply outclassed a killer. The first fight, Madonna actually did really well, though, Jules. I was actually at that fight. I think Mayweather won probably 7 rounds to 5, maybe even 8-4, but Madonna gave him a good fight. The second one was pretty one-sided, though. The better fight was actually outside the ring, Julian. You've probably heard me talk about it before, where all the Argentinian fans all decided they'd sort of do a mini riot on the way back to the casino, and they pretty much wrecked the shopping strip from the arena back to the casino floor. Were you ever stopped? Yep, I was stopped, Shadow Boxer. I was stopped by Richie. Yep. After I was dropped, I got up and we fought for probably about another 45 seconds. And the referee stopped it. Lincoln Hudson, it actually was. He's a really good trainer these days. He stopped the fight. And to this day, I strongly debate it, because if he was going to stop it, he should have called it when I was on the mat, because he dropped me. I got straight back up, and I was wobbly when I got up. Make no mistake. But he was going to stop it. That would have been the time. When he actually stopped it, I actually thought I was getting back into the fight, and then he said stop in a clinch and stopped the fight. I've never let him forget it either. And one other time, Shadow Boxer, it was at the Olympics. I didn't get stopped as such, but I fell, is it 12 points behind or 15 points behind? And they ring the bell. So I wasn't actually stopped, but I fell behind by 15 points. So they rang the bell and they say, well, mate, you got no chance of winning. Let's just get the next fight going. So that's what happened in that one. Learned a lot out of that fight too, though. It was good. All right. Nobody has a ring belt at 154, but to be lineal, you got to beat the main man, and that's still Mel. But that's my question mark. If Jamal doesn't fight anymore, well, he's not lineal champion. Well, how long is it until he's not lineal champion? So let's just say Jamal Charlo never fights again. At what point does he stop being the lineal champion? And someone has to take it. Who is it? And you're right. If no one beats the main man, well, who takes the crown? If I was looking at the moment, I'd probably say Fundora for me is the lineal champion. If I had to anoint somebody, I know he hasn't beaten Jamal. If I had to anoint somebody, if Charlo doesn't fight again, I would say Fundora. I think he's earned it. I really do. Where are we? All right, Dana is also the same guy that wouldn't allow UFC fighters to have sponsorship outside the UFC or on the trunks. History can say a whole lot. Yep, 100%, mate. There was one fighter the other day that commented that he was done out of $100,000 in sponsorship. Jamal leaves 154, then the ring belt should only go to someone who gets undisputed. Yeah, that's a good call too, Mark. Yep, maybe, yeah. They've got to do a mini tournament. Whoever comes out with all 4 belts then becomes a lineal champion and have the ring belt as well. Good call. Aussie Pugilist, where's the best place to watch your fights? There's only a few on there, mate. It's on YouTube. I think there's half a dozen fights or something on there. Check it out if you want to. All right, got a few minutes to go, guys. Ryan, top 10 heavyweights from the 90s versus the top 10 current heavyweights in a Royal Rumble. Who wins? The top heavyweights from the 90s. Geez. I would think the current heavyweights would win that, wouldn't they? The 90s. Oh, so no, sorry. No, I'm thinking of the 2000s when the Klitschko's were ruling the division. So, no, it's got to be the 90s, doesn't it? You got Lewis, Bo, Holyfield, Tyson. That's just the top 4. Then you've got in the current heavyweights, Usyk, Joshua, Fury, Wilder. Would be pretty good. Maybe we could do one like that. Yeah, a 5 versus 5 of the 90s versus the current crop. Good call. I'll probably throw the 80s in there as well. I might do that, Ryan. Good call for walking boxing. There's nothing to talk about. Because what I do with walking boxing sometimes, if I get an idea in my head, I'll just make a note of it on my phone. And if there's not much happening in the boxing world in the last 24 hours, then I'll roll something out like that just so we've got something to talk about. So that's a good call, that. A 5x5 of the 90s versus the current heavyweight. So the top 10 current would be Usyk, Fury, Joshua, well, we'll count Fury, Joshua, Usyk, Wilder, and Dubois. Would you throw those? Would they be the top 5 against? Was the Klitschko's were around then, weren't they? The late 90s, weren't they? But Holyfield, Tyson, Lewis, and Bo. There's 4 big ones out. I'm sure I'll think of someone. Yeah, that's a really good call though, Ryan. When you're wobbly, how do you describe it? Is it your body, legs refusing to do what you want to do? Yeah, just for a minute, Shadow Boxer. Just like it was I didn't see the punch coming. Obviously, I had the great idea of leading with a hook, and Richie being such a great fighter just went boom straight down the middle, and I did about 3 backward somersaults when he hit me. But nah, I think it was a matter of just getting up too quick when I was a little bit woozy there, Shadow Boxer. But as soon as they gave me the 8 count, and as soon as I sort of went back in, I was pretty good to go. I held on for a little bit and moved a little bit, and then yeah, as I said, I thought I got back into the fight about a minute later, and Lincoln in the clinch, coming out of a clinch, said stop, and he just waved it off. And as I said, I haven't let him live it down because I would 100% say if I was hurt and rocked, but I wasn't. But yeah, a little bit like your body doesn't want to do what you told it to do, shadow boxer. Your legs just a little bit rubbery, that's all, and they just don't seem to be underneath you. But I've never been knocked out ever. So very quickly, thoughts on Showtime coming out of retirement. Sad to see. Is that right? I didn't see that, Jules. Depends in what format they're coming back in and how much money they're going to spend. If they were the old Showtime, I 100% welcome it. But if they're just sort of just rolling it out, now what Showtime's its own channel, isn't it? I think. I don't know much about how it all works or how it did work, but on the surface, Jules, I'm all for it. But if you say it's sad to see, I'm assuming that it's not maybe the same format that it was. But yeah, on just in first thoughts, I think that's an awesome plan if that's the case. But I wasn't aware that it was happening. What's that? You ever been drunk as hell, shadow boxer? Yes, good call, Mark. Yes. Had a few too many drinks. That's what it's like. Yeah. Glenn, 90s heavyweights would win that. Yeah, I'm with you there, Glenn, for sure, mate. I'm with you for sure. All right, well, we've got a couple of minutes to go. Have you got anything else to throw at me? No more Floyd Mayweather comments there. Don't forget, too, guys, if you want to see Roberto Duran in Melbourne on I think it's the 29th of October or 28th it might be, which is next Tuesday night. So the next Tuesday night, the 28th, I think. Hang on, I better double check that. Hang on, wrong page. Got to check my Insta with Tassie Brown. Where is it? There it is. All right. So it is the 28th of October, Melbourne Pavilion. $500 a ticket. So no, sorry, it's not at the Melbourne Pavilion. It's somewhere else now. I think it's the Observatory or somewhere like that. But yeah, 28th of October, $500 a ticket. You get a photo and all that. I think there's only going to be about 60 people there, so it's going to be quite intimate. So if you want to go, great chance to hear what the Hands of Stone has to say, and also get a photo and all the rest of it. So and a good feed apparently they're going to do for the night. Food and drinks are all inclusive. So $500 a ticket. Get on to Try Booking, or you can contact Tassie Brown. If you've got a pen, I'll read out his number: 0499 990 465. So that's 0499 990 465. That's to contact Tassie directly. I thought they might have been on Try Booking. They were last time, but no, you got to call Tassie direct. So he will sort you out. That's Roberto Duran. And I did hear just from Tassie, they're looking at a couple other big names next year, and one of them maybe might be Oscar De La Hoya. How good would that be to have the golden boy out here? Would be crazy. Andy, will we see Desi Robinson in an undisputed? Maybe. I hope so. Andy. She's as I said earlier, she's awesome. Desley's just a very, very good fighter. Real sort of down to earth, sort of Aussie type outside the ring, and yeah, I hope good things come to her. I really do. Am I going? No, I can't. Shadow boxer. I've got some staff problems at the moment. I've been sort of doing 4 or 5 days a week at my pub, so it's been pretty hard. Because I live an hour away from Bendigo, so it's been back and forth a fair bit. But you got to do what you got to do. And yeah, I've had 2 or 3 staff away, so I've had to do some hours. And next week is still not good for me, mate. So I can't go. All right, well, that's going to do it, guys. A couple of minutes early, but I think we'll call it a night. Yes, subscribe, share, smash the like button, folks. It all helps. Really appreciate everyone tuning in. Don't forget to watch Walking. No, Shadow Boxer, I won't. No. Don't forget, Walking Boxing every morning, about sort of 10 to 10:30. I sort of upload it. Some days if I've got to get on the road really early, I might miss out. Might not go on till later in the day. But it will go on there at some stage, and I've got a few other bits and pieces coming up as well. So, yeah, Julian, shout out to Tassie Brown for sponsoring the Hands of Stone, 100%. Yep, for sure. So if you can support it, because if you keep supporting it, he'll keep bringing people back. So, yeah, support the Knights, and you never know who he'll bring out. So, guys, that's going to do it. Again, really appreciate everyone tuning in. Have a great week. We'll catch you next Monday on Talking Boxing.